Welcome everyone to another video. My name is Hagel, aka Hags, and today I want to share with you how to flip a property in 2024. I've done one of these videos last year, about 7 or so months ago now, but of course markets changed, inflation's changed, so much things that have changed that we have to go through all of this again, but all we have to do is tweak a couple of things. So the same rules apply. Listen throughout this whole video to know the exact steps. So starting straight off with location. I've always cared about location, and so should everyone else. In this climate, of course, we are in a buyer's market, so you'll have to be a lot more picky than you've usually been. So what does that mean? So when you're looking at certain areas, so let me give you an example, London. Don't just look everywhere in London. You want to look in specific parts of London and narrow down your location that way. And the reason for doing that is, of course, we are in a buyer's market, but when you come to actually sell this property on, you want to see the competition you have in that area to see what other properties are going for what price. But also, if you can find that location with less competition, that means you're pretty much going to have a lot of buyers coming for that property. And how would you figure this out, of course? Well, you look on the market at the moment, you've seen things that have sold, and also you can figure out how many properties have sold in sort of a quarter radius of that specific property you are looking at. And that will give you a good indication of how many properties have actually sold in that area. It's a great way of tweaking the flip strategy slightly to be able to know that your property is a high demand property that a lot of people would want when you come to sell it. So now the next is negotiation. I've always been a big thing for negotiating, and I've done a video actually, if you look here, there is a full video on how I negotiate to get a property deal. You've got to be that bit more pickier. So when you are coming to purchase the property you have found, you've done all the numbers, etc., you need to drop this price down by a good 15, 20, even maybe £30,000 to really get yourself a good deal. Doing this will of course help when you're coming to do the refurb, because that £30,000 or so that you've saved will pretty much be the refurb cost. So you can pretty much purchase a property, save that much money, and the refurb cost will be the difference that you've saved. And as this market isn't the easiest to deal with, finding the property's resale value is not going to be the same as it was possibly last year or the year before, definitely not the year before. With the strategy I use, it's of course a sold subject to contract. The next strategy is of course to go on sold prices. What is already sold? That's what you want to look for. And last but not least, I would call between 2 to 3 agents and give them a breakdown of the property and see if they can give me a resale value. So now there's 3 really reputable strategies to actually find out the resale value. The next thing is to make sure that when finding a property flip, you need as much things as possible. I've always stood by this. The more things there are to renovate, the more profit that can come out of it at the end of it. Of course, there's a lot of factors involved, what actually needs doing and if it's gonna add the value. So let me go through it now. A full kitchen, of course, great value. Bathroom, great value. Heating and electrics is an absolute huge one. Why? Because they can both cost a fair amount, and a lot of people shy away from these sorts of properties because they think there's way too much work to do. But in reality, most properties like these have a tank in there, which that gets removed. You get a new combi boiler fitted and then radiators and the pipes throughout. But not only that, if it just needs a full general refurb, flooring, replastering the walls, painting the walls, all these little things just to add up to show that a lot of people might shy away from those because there is, again, just too many things to do. But that's the point of flipping property. If there's some structural issues, yes, a lot of people will shy away from that again, but there's always a solution to a problem. If you can get a builder to come and see what the actual structure problem is, they'll be able to identify what it is and just give you a quote for it, and there you have it. The problem has now been fixed. But now, moving on to figures. I want to give you a quick breakdown of the costs that you want to consider when actually flipping property. So purchase price, of course, is a massive one. Stamp duty, you can't hide away from this, is 3%. Solicitor fees, ×2. From the buying to the selling, there is one for both. Buying is always slightly more than actually selling. Agent fees. I know these fees actually come out once you've sold the property and the agent just takes it from that. Last but not least, the other fees that come with this, auction fees. So always call the auction company to see what their fees are, and in the legal pack they might say there's some buyer's fees, etc. And finally, if you're going through the mortgage route, there could be fees for that as well. So of course, gather that information, and if you're not purchasing as a mortgage, then you don't need to worry about that. And one thing I can't stress enough, I find this the most important thing pretty much in flipping property, and that is finding a good builder. If you can find a solid builder you can create a relationship with, buy properties in that area and constantly let that builder do your builds for you over and over again, not only will he knock his price down for you over time, but he'll get these projects done in no time. I'm actually doing a video on how I completed a property flip in 2 months. So stay tuned for that. So to end off this video, knowing that interest rates are still high, I think they're lurking around 3.99%, 4% you can get now. And of course, inflation is still high. You know, the build costs in general can still be high as well. There's a lot of factors to consider, but there we have it. And those are the strategies to flipping a property in 2024. Follow all these steps. And if you have any questions regarding flipping properties, let me know down below. But I've been Haggot, aka Hags. Don't forget the name. And I'll catch you in the next video.